During this presentation, we're going to be learning how to do or complete a 3-view working drawing. We're going to be creating a 3-view working drawing of the same exact cube that we used during ideation sketch number 2. So we're going to draw what this cube looks like from the front. So imagine myself standing over here looking at this cube from this direction. This would be the front view. This is what I would see. This is what I'm going to draw. Imagine myself standing above this, looking down at the cube. That would be the top view. That's what I would see is this part right here for my top view. So that's the part we're going to draw for the top view. And then finally, imagine yourself standing over here to the right of it, looking at it from this direction. This is what we would see for our right side view. Now, 3-view working drawings are drawings that are used to create or build things. We show that shape or object or part that we're trying to create, manufacture, in 3 separate views with what we call dimension lines added to it that specify how long something needs to be, where it may need to be assembled or attached to something else. But it's essentially an instruction to how to construct or build something to a specific size. Okay, now we're going to use Jamboard to do this, so we want to go back up to our apps and scroll down until you see Jamboard. Select the Jamboard tool, and we're going to create a new Jamboard, so go down to the bottom right corner of your graphic window and select New Jam. And we want to use a background with this, so we're going to select the background tool and select the squares background. We want to zoom in on this. So from that same toolbar, we're going to select the zoom tool and then click on the sheet to zoom in. We're going to select the pen tool, and we're going to go back and take a look at that front view one more time. Sometimes we need to collect some data. Here we're going to collect the overall length of the front view. It's 9 squares long, and the height of it is 6 squares tall. And notice this line from this intersection here over to this intersection is 5 squares long, and then the vertical line down here in the bottom right is 2 squares tall. So we want to use that data to help us configure the front view. We're going to start this front view 5 squares up and 5 squares over to the right. So I'm going to count up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're going to go over 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we're going to start right there on that point. Remember we said it's 9 squares long. So I'm going to draw a line 9 squares long. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And if we go back and take a look again, remember we said it's 6 squares tall. So I'm going to start over here on the left-hand side of that line we just made and draw a square 6 squares tall. 4, 5, 6. And to take a look again at that, remember we said it's 2 squares tall here. So we're going to go up 2 squares. 1, 2. And remember it's 5 squares this direction for this line. And 5. Now we need to connect the line between the 2 points. I'm just going to draw an angled line down between the 2 lines. So that's our front view. And the front view is always drawn first, and it's in the bottom left corner of the drawing. Directly to the right of the front view, we draw the right side view. We're going to space our views equally 4 squares apart. So we're going to count over 4 squares. 1, 2, 3, 4. From this point right here, we're going to draw a rectangle that is the same height as our front view. Remember, our front view was 6 squares tall, so we're going to draw a line here that's 6 squares tall. And we're going to go back and look at our cube and determine what the depth was. The depth is 4 squares this direction. So our right side view needs to be 4 squares wide. So I'm going to draw a line here to the right that's 4 squares long. And I'm just going to continue and draw a rectangle there, 4 by 6. Now, there's a line that lives right here. And notice it lines up with where these two lines converge. So I'm going to draw a line 2 squares up across here. And now my right side view is completed. Next, we're going to go up 4 squares up above the front view and draw the top view. So count up 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to draw a line that's 9 squares long. And the width of the top view will be the same as the depth of our right side view. So it's 4 squares here. So the top will be 4 squares wide. And I'm just going to continue around, completing the rectangle. Now, like on our right side view, we have a line that lives here. We also have a line up here that lives right here. Again, where these two lines converge. So now we have our front view, the bottom left corner. Directly above it, we have our right side view. And then directly above it, we have our top view. Okay, next what we want to do is include dimensions. Dimension lines allow us to create detail dimensions of different parts of how long they are, or wide or tall, or overall dimensions, which tell us how the total length is, the total width or total depth of that shape, object, or part that we're creating. We're going to also talk about where dimensions should be placed. We usually put dimensions in between views. So dimension lines are going to live in between the front and top. Generally, they're going to live between the front and right side views. We're going to start by drawing what we call extension lines first. Extension lines are very short lines that dimension lines fit in between. And extension lines do not touch the view. So we're going to draw an extension line that lives here. We're going to draw an extension line that lives here. And one over here. And then we're going to draw a dimension line that fits in between them. I'm going to draw a little bit across here and stop. I want to leave a small little window to draw a number in there. And stop again, leave a little window there for the number to fit. And we're going to count the number of squares, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we want to draw the number 5 in there for our dimension number. And this one is 4 squares long, so we're going to draw the number 4 in there. And finally, with these dimensions, we have an ending point that we have to create. Sometimes ending points are little dots. Sometimes they use arrowheads. Sometimes they use a little angled termination point. We're going to use angled lines for termination points. I'm just going to draw a small little angle line across there, and one there, and one over here. Next, we're going to draw some dimensions that will live over here that will tell us the height or detail heights of the cube. So I'm going to draw an extension line that lives here, and one over here, and one right kind of in between them. And we're going to draw a dimension line down vertically, leave a little window, and leave a little window, and we need to count the number of squares. 1, 2, so we're going to draw the number 2 in there. And this one is 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to write or draw the number 4 in there. And we have one more dimension. We have an overall dimension that lives down here, and this one will be for the depth of the cube. So we want to draw our extension lines first. And draw the dimension line, leave a little window. And this one is 4, so we're going to draw the number 4 here. Put our termination points on the ends, angled lines. We're going to go ahead over here back to the height of our front view and draw our angled lines or termination points. And the last thing that we want to do is create some sticky notes and do some labeling. So go over here to the left toolbar and select the sticky note. And we're in all capital letters, we're going to type our name and save. We're going to type in the name of the drawing, 3View, working drawing, and save, and then cancel. And then we're going to go up here to the zoom tool and select fit, and I'm going to drag my sticky notes over here to the right side of the page, and I'm going to click on a corner and drag out just a little bit and make them a little bit larger. And again, just to recap what we've just done, we've created a front view, a top view, and a right side view. We've created dimensions, detail dimensions for the length of the cube. We've created detail dimensions for the height of the cube and an overall dimension for the depth of the cube. And again, to take a look at the cube that we just drew. Okay, so finally, the last thing that we need to do is share this with our instructors. So we want to go up here to the upper right corner of our graphic window, click on the Share tab, type in your instructor's name or email address and share it with them. And this will conclude our 3View working drawing presentation.